In this podcast episode, Joe Rogan interviews Cassie Coppersmith, an independent researcher and content creator specializing in ancient megalithic artifacts and mysterious historical sites around the world. They dive deep into topics such as ancient Chinese jade artifacts, advanced stone machining techniques, enigmatic temples across India and Cambodia, elongated skulls, and suppressed histories that challenge mainstream archaeological timelines. Their discussion ranges from the technological sophistication of ancient civilizations and the mistrust of academic gatekeeping to the role of psychedelics in reconnecting with ancestral spiritual wisdom. Cassie begins by recounting her fascination with ancient artifacts from the Liangzhu culture in China, first introduced to her through the channel Megalithic Marvels. At the British Museum, she encountered nephrite jade objects that seemed impossibly precise and machine-crafted, despite conventional claims that they were created using primitive tools like strings with abrasives and bamboo cores. The most famous pieces include the Sung tube, a perfectly geometrical object combining circular and square shapes, and the B discs, large flat donut-shaped discs with flawless drill holes showing concentric drill marks suggestive of modern machinery. Cassie highlights experiments in the 1930s that tried replicating these techniques using bamboo and string abrasives, which took an enormous amount of time and yielded much cruder results than the actual artifacts. She speculates that these items might have been treasured relics inherited or discovered from an earlier, more advanced civilization that predated the Liangzhu culture, and that the culture itself used these objects as high-status grave goods, similar to how hardstone vases functioned in ancient Egypt. The artifacts date back securely to around 3400 BC, roughly contemporary with some early Egyptian hardstone relics. Cassie doubts the conventional narrative that such precision could be achieved with copper tools and abrasives alone, and believes these artifacts hint at lost or hidden technologies in ancient times. The conversation shifts to southern India, where Cassie recently visited incredible megalithic sites, showcasing megatons of lath-turned stone pillars and exquisitely machined statues, such as the 60-foot-tall Bahubali statue carved from white granite. These structures display levels of geometric precision and uniformity so refined that they resemble modern machine-turned work. The pillars in temples like those at Kapwar show clear lathe marks that run the entire length of enormous columns, with precise circular and polygonal shaping, despite conventional explanations attributing the work to human or animal-powered lathes. Cassie shares images and discussion of massive reservoir systems and spiral earthworks discovered around temples like Hampi and Angkor Wat, discovered via recent LiDAR surveys which revealed large, previously unknown cities with enormous irrigation and settlement infrastructure. These reservoirs required moving vast amounts of earth, equivalent in volume to dozens of Giza-sized pyramids, and yet the official archaeological explanations remain incomplete or dismissive. Moreover, these ancient water systems seem linked to temple complexes with roofless shrines housing gigantic Shiva lingams, monumental phallic energy symbols often described in ancient texts as infinite pillars of light and fire, suggesting these structures were possibly energetic or spiritual devices, not mere religious icons. Cassie discusses her experience in Cambodia, describing how the oldest parts of Angkor Wat and surrounding pyramids contrast starkly with newer temple structures, indicating layers of construction by successive cultures. She notes the intricacy of bas-reliefs depicting deities at the complex's core, which sharply differs from the outer layer's emphasis on warfare imagery, possibly symbolizing a decline in human consciousness over time. The 2012 LiDAR discoveries revealed vast urban and agricultural complexes hidden beneath jungle canopies, including enormous moats, mounded fields, spiral embankments, and reservoirs, all engineered with a sophistication that defies official timelines, placing their construction within the last millennium. Cassie suggests that mainstream archaeology's reliance on inscriptions and surface carbon dating to date these sites results in circular reasoning and overlooks the possibility of much older origins. The inscriptions, often describing kings installing statues or offerings, are not definitive construction dates. Instead, the grand megalithic architecture and infrastructure may date back tens of thousands of years or predate the commonly accepted ages. She theorizes these constructions were part of vast water management and energy systems that could have been tools for consciousness enhancement or agriculture far beyond what conventional explanations credit. The topic transitions to elongated skulls found in multiple locations worldwide, including Peru, Malta, Egypt, and England, which Cassie has personally examined. These skulls differ significantly from typical human cranial anatomy. They have larger brain cases, missing or altered sagittal sutures, repositioned bone structures where the skull meets the spine, and enlarged eye sockets. These are not simple artificial cranial deformations achieved by cradle boarding, but physically distinct skull morphology, often showing evidence of ancient cranial surgeries, trepanation, where circular holes were drilled. Cassie shares theory that such people may have had enhanced brain capacity, potentially unlocking abilities like telepathy or non-ordinary states of consciousness, tied to myths of giants or enlightened rulers found in various cultures. She relates how these skulls are typically kept out of public view or locked away in museums, hinting at possible suppression of evidence for alternative human histories. The existence of these remains suggests a species or human variant with advanced cognitive abilities coexisting with Homo sapiens and reflects the broader pattern of multi-species hominins revealed by recent paleoanthropology. Cassie reflects on the academic environment and how hierarchical structures, egos, and rigid funding systems inhibit open inquiry into alternative historical theories. She recounts how revolutionary ideas, like the pre-Clovis settlements in the Americas, initially faced intense opposition and career-damaging backlash before eventually gaining acceptance. Young archaeologists often self-censor to protect their livelihoods, discouraging exploration of controversial timelines. Established academics who challenge orthodoxy risk being ostracized or discredited. Cassie sympathizes with the pressures within the system, but advocates for skepticism and open-mindedness when confronted with anomalies that defy official narratives. She argues that many ancient sites globally show similar signs of successive constructions built atop an even older sandstone or megalithic core, often misdated due to limited carbon dating of the superficial layers. The conventional linear timeline of human civilization, growing from primitives to sophisticated cultures, is challenged by geological evidence, such as water erosion patterns on the Sphinx, indicating far greater antiquity than Egyptologists admit. She warns against conflating nationalistic agendas with historical facts, citing how many ancient monuments bear signs of later rulers, claiming credit by adding inscriptions or overcarvings. Cassie expresses fascination with the global spread of megalithic architecture, which shares common features though wrought by different cultures across distant locations such as Egypt, India, Peru, and Easter Island. These sites frequently occupy places of intense natural energy or earth acupuncture points, where visitors often report feelings of healing, altered states, or elevated consciousness, suggesting intentional placement. She speculates that the builders understood and harnessed subtle energetic properties using water structures, massive stone carvings, and spiritual ceremonies embedded within their architecture. The rediscovery and reinterpretation of ancient engineering feats, from massive reservoirs to perfectly aligned temples and lathe-turned pillars, could reveal lost technologies or forgotten methods not reliant purely on mechanical tools, but possibly employing unknown forms of vibrational or energetic construction. Cassie highlights the overlooked evidence of technologically advanced societies predating recorded history, pre-flood or antediluvian civilizations, whose knowledge and achievements were mythologized or suppressed. The conversation touches on the resurgence of psychedelics as a tool for reconnecting to ancient spiritual knowledge and healing psychic fragmentation caused by modern disconnection from nature and self. Cassie relates personal experiences visiting significant ancient sites where meditation and silent retreats facilitated profound inner transformation and a closer bond with the Earth's energetic fabric. She critiques contemporary society's addiction to technology, distraction, and superficiality, contrasting it with the deep ceremonial traditions and ritual importance placed on sacred structures by ancient peoples. Cassie applauds the democratizing power of the internet and AI technologies in challenging mainstream historical narratives and facilitating access to global knowledge, enabling broader exploration into archaeological enigmas, formerly inaccessible ancient texts, and untranslatable scripts. They discuss recent technological advances, such as LiDAR and space-based radar tomography, enabling discoveries like a potential second buried Sphinx near the Giza Plateau, as revealed by researcher Filippo Bonifacio. AI-assisted analysis of scan data estimates over likelihood of this structure's existence, matching expected geometric and cultural alignments. Evidence of buried chambers within and beneath the known Sphinx validates such research, although excavation efforts have yet to confirm these findings openly. Cassie sees these innovations as revolutionary tools poised to radically revise accepted archaeological timelines and understandings. Other breakthroughs, like the non-invasive reading of carbonized scrolls from Pompeii using imaging technologies, underscore a growing capability to unlock lost narratives, which, combined with AI's linguistic decryption abilities, could unveil currently unknown chapters of human history. The duo explores ancient mythologies referencing giant kings, extended lifespans, and cyclical ages of humanity far exceeding conventional chronologies. Citing examples from Jain, Hindu, Egyptian, Sumerian, and biblical traditions, Cassie notes a widespread motif of superhuman figures ruling for tens of thousands or even millions of years, followed by catastrophic floods and societal resets. These myths correspond oddly with evidence for catastrophes like the Younger Dryas impact around 11,800 years ago, which may have destroyed earlier advanced civilizations. They also discuss the biblical Watchers and Nephilim, giants and otherworldly beings described in apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch, whose exclusion from canonical scripture might reflect historical gatekeeping rather than factual inaccuracy. These narratives align with archaeological findings of anomalous elongated skulls and megalithic monuments, suggesting many layers of forgotten or suppressed history woven into ancient stories. Joe and Cassie touch on the challenges in reconciling paleontology with human history, emphasizing the incomplete fossil record and scientific reconstructions that depend heavily on assumption and artistic interpretation. They mention the existence of dinosaurs with feathers and discuss the commercial sale of famous fossil skeletons like Gus, the partially complete T-Rex fossil, underscoring how much of history is pieced together secondhand. Cassie shares her personal connection to North American archaeology through spear points and Clovis Folsom culture artifacts found on her family's farm, reminding listeners that deeply complex human histories exist within indigenous traditions often unrecognized in mainstream narratives. They also ponder the impact of glacial events and supervolcanic occurrences, such as the 70,000-year-old Toba eruption, which nearly eradicated humanity down to fewer than 100,000 people, highlighting the fragility and resilience of life on Earth amidst dramatic environmental upheavals. Toward the end of the discussion, Joe and Cassie reflect philosophically on current human society's disconnection from nature, profound loneliness, and the breakdown of close-knit communities or tribes. They touch on the health and lifespan benefits of social bonds, particularly how marriage and companionship extend longevity, especially for men. The conversation embraces the notion that ancient humans likely had deeper connections with each other, the Earth, and the cosmos, which modern life struggles to replicate. They speculate about future advances in biotechnology, aiming for longevity or immortality, and how that might reshape human society's concepts of work, purpose, and aging. The hope is expressed that by reconnecting with our ancestral roots, both materially through archaeological knowledge and spiritually through practices like psychedelics, humanity might carve a wiser path forward. Throughout the episode, Cassie emphasizes the emotional and spiritual impact of visiting ancient sites, describing visions, feelings of healing, and a profound sense of mystery that lingers around places like Easter Island, Peru, Cambodia, India, and Egypt. These sites, often referred to as navels or energy centers of the world, function not only as architectural marvels, but as portals to deeper understanding and reverence for human origins. The ongoing technological and scholarly advances, coupled with open-minded inquiry from independent researchers and content creators like Cassie promise to challenge existing paradigms, revealing that what we thought we knew about human history is only the surface of a far more complex and wondrous tapestry.